Hey, so I am revisiting my thoughts on this whole situation with Monique and Netflix. As you'll recall, the early part of last year, Monique made headlines all over the country because she asked her supporters to boycott Netflix because she was offered the opportunity to do a comedy special, but they only offered her $500,000 and didn't give her the opportunity to present a counter offer. And her concern with that was that if she had taken that deal, then she would have been shut out from doing any type of stand-up comedy or anything in the comedy world for that 2 to 3 year period. And her point was that if she just did her regular thing and toured around the country, she would make more than $500,000 during that time frame. So she felt like the offer should have been something in the seven-figure range, at least enough so that she would be getting the same thing from Netflix that she would get if she did her stand-up comedy. And you had a lot of people who basically were pointing out that they didn't feel that she was worth seven figures because they were saying that the other comedians that had gotten specials with Netflix had done recent comedy tours where they had sold out huge arenas, including Madison Square Gardens. And because Monique had not done that, they didn't feel like she was worth seven figures. During her interview with The Breakfast Club, Monique said that black women in the comedy world don't get the same opportunities from promoters to book certain venues. So she pointed out that, okay, anytime you see a comedian booked at an arena, that comedian is not doing the booking themselves. They get that opportunity from promoters who then help to publicize the event and try to help them get the sales. Okay? Now, at the time, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't agree with her if Netflix was paying her based on her ability to draw an audience as a comedian. Now, if her pay was going to be based on her total body of work, the comedy world, the TV shows, the acting roles in movies, then I did feel like she should have been offered at least something in the seven-figure range. But now I'm side-eyeing Netflix, and I'm going to tell you why. It's come out that Eddie Murphy is reportedly in talks to do a comedy special with Netflix, and the number that's being thrown around is $60 to $70 million. Now, when we think of Eddie Murphy, we think of all of his movie roles, and if you look at some of his interviews, he even jokes about the fact that some of the movies have not done well. But to be fair, he's had some very successful movie roles. But Eddie Murphy hasn't done a stand-up comedy special since the 80s. It's literally been like 30 years since he's done a stand-up comedy special. So if we're looking at Eddie Murphy, the comedian, who hasn't worked as a comedian doing stand-up comedy since the 80s, why is his offer $60 to $70 million? It's because they're looking at his total body of work. So if they can do that with Eddie Murphy, why was it so easy to dismiss Monique's body of work? And why was it so easy for them to walk away from the conversation when she said, well, this $500,000 wouldn't even be what I made if I did my regular stand-up comedy? Why did the conversation not start at $2 million? Do you see what I'm saying? So if this comedy special with Eddie Murphy comes through and the number is $60 to $70 million, then I'm going to be looking to see if all of those people who were so quick to talk Monique down, I'm going to see if they go to Netflix and they say, well, if you could look at Eddie Murphy's total body of work as a reason to give him $60 to $70 million, Why were you dismissive of Monique when she was only asking for about $2 or $3 million? Just something to think about. Let me know what you think. I mean, I know Monique, I don't agree with her in certain other areas, but let me know what you think about this situation. Do you think that it's fair that Netflix may offer Eddie Murphy up to $70 million, even though he has not worked as a comedian since the 80s, especially because during this whole situation with Monique and Netflix, you had black male comedians publicly saying, well, she hasn't performed as well in the comedy world as she's done with TV and movies recently. So since they said that about Monique, do you think it's fair that Eddie Murphy may get 70 million? Just something to think about. I thought it would be interesting to revisit. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out to see what Eddie Murphy is offered and how Netflix will answer that question. Why did his total body of work matter when it came to making him an offer and hers didn't? Let me know what you think.